Is up, Miss Emily Lyons. It's good to be able to see you.
So good to see you too.
We always hear each other kind of back and forth on Clubhouse or Twitter Spaces or everywhere, but to actually be able to have the video, the face to face, it's super fun. So I'm excited to kind of jump in the conversation, but I want to tell everyone that's listening a little bit about you because there's some awesome things. Like, I'm going to be honest, I didn't know some of these things. So it's always fun. Like you kind of go in, like you and I just, and a lot of our friends, like on Clubhouse, right? We just started becoming friends, and we don't actually talk a lot about what we've done. We just talk about what we're doing and how,
Mhm.
and kind of go through. So let me just take 2 seconds. Let me go through here. Bear with me. It's always fun when someone reads the bio and goes through, but I think it's important. So everyone, thank you guys so much for joining us today. As I said, you hear me, Emily and I kind of checking back and forth because we've talked together for so long on Clubhouse for the last year and a half. I feel like I know her so well until I get her bio. So as it says, Emily is the founder and CEO of North America's top event staffing, the multi-award-winning Femme Fatale Media Group. Emily has gone on to launch and scale several other successful companies, including Lyons Elite Matchmaking, True Glue Beauty, Femme Fatale Public Relations, JWLS Accessories, and the Julia Lyons Foundation. And it doesn't actually say on here as well that you are the founder of the amazing Lions Den, which I had the awesome time to be able to present in. But you are a champion for women in business, mental health, and cystic fibrosis. Fibrosis. I apologize. Now, here's a cool thing, Emily, that I didn't know. Now, totally understand you're featured in Forbes, Huffington Post, Bloomberg, Entrepreneur, Global News, Maxim, Post, Global, all these things.
Mhm.
But like some of the brands you've worked with are Warner Brothers, National Bank, Louis Vuitton, and like people like Justin Bieber, Jennifer Lopez, and Drake. I mean, like that's freaking amazing with right now. And I have to believe this number is probably adjusted just in the time that I got this, that you have over 250,000 followers. I have to assume that's probably closer to 300 by now.
I'm not sure, but maybe, yeah, I think it probably is. It probably is.
Wow.
Yeah.
I have
Yeah.
no doubt. I mean, your brand and what you represent and your consistency is amazing. So I really appreciate you jumping on here today and having a conversation with me, not only here on LinkedIn, but everywhere. So, and it looks like we've got Rachel joining us already, my amazing wife. We got Sebastian Rusk. What's up, dude? Thank you for joining us. If you don't know Sebastian, Emily, you should. He's a amazing podcast host and promoter and all these and helping people create their podcasts. So it's
Oh, cool. I'm gonna have to connect.
really, really, really cool people that are joining us today. But how are you doing, my dear?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm doing pretty good. Yeah, I'm a little bit tired today, but that's okay. We got an ice storm here in Ontario, Canada. Schools are closed, but hey, rolling with the punches, right? Could be worse.
Well, I get it. I mean, it's so funny. Like you guys actually have an ice storm, like in Texas. If our schools will close, if it's potential of ice on the ground, maybe.
That's funny. No, we have
And
ice
yeah,
coming.
oh no, we're like, oh well, I guess I should probably watch. There might be a couple slippery spots out there, and that's the whole piece of when it shuts down. But no, I totally get it. We actually flew back in. We were in Tulum, like I mentioned earlier, with my wife
Mhm.
and I, and flying back into Texas, we had a storm come in, but it was tornadoes. They had like 6 different tornadoes here in Austin, and while we were try right before we were landing, and we're like, okay, this is gonna be fun.
Yeah, that's a little bit freaky. I
But
wouldn't.
we're back, we're going in. So, I mean, like you and I have caught up so much over time over Clubhouse, going from Clubhouse to Twitter. I mean, like you have been crushing all the different social audio spaces, and really being able to, dive in on all things, entrepreneurial. And I mean, that's what I really wanted to talk to you about today is, let's get into, really the entrepreneurial mindset, right? That someone must have to be on not only on social media, but social audio. And I'd love to be able to hear your thoughts on that.
I'm just gonna.
You
Oh, there we go.
lose me?
No, I'm back. Sorry, you said, what are my thoughts on social audio?
Well, I mean, I want your thoughts on the entrepreneurial mindset, right? Around social media itself, but probably even more so because social audio, the influence, the age of the audio influencers coming in. So, I mean, look, I went in. I mean, you kept on going, and I mean, we pulled off a little bit because we just couldn't handle how much it took to be that
Yeah.
influencer on social media audio. And I mean, to be able to see where you're at. What's the mindset it takes for someone to be able to kind of go into that?
You got to push through the burnout, but I love it because I mean, you can just roll out of bed. Like this morning, I woke up and I was still in bed. I popped to John's room.
Okay. Yeah.
6 a.m. and he passed the mic to me to do a share. Hadn't had a coffee yet. And it's like, but you can make such a great impact potentially.
Yeah.
Really easy way. So it's like you can do a mini speech from your bed. And I mean, I'm talking about things that I love.
Right.
I love talking about entrepreneurship and sharing different tips that can help people. And so I look forward to it a lot of the time. But yeah, it does get tiring. I think you got to really be intentional with how you show up on social audio. Otherwise, you end up spending so much time on there and you're really in different rooms and participating in things that aren't serving you and serving your audience. And that is when I think a lot of people get burnt out, because next thing you know, you're on there for like 8 hours every day. And what are you doing with it? What do you have to show for it? Especially if you're in those drama rooms. So being really intentional. Why do you want to be in there? What do you want to do there? Who do you want to help?
I love that. No, and that's the whole piece, right? I think you have to be intentional. I think a lot of us spend a lot of times, hours on end in different rooms.
Mhm.
And then you're like, what am I doing? And why am I here? What's going on? So I think a lot of people find that all the time. So it's really, really cool. And, to kind of even shift on there, because I know it is Women's History Month. And, I appreciate all that you have been as a women founder. And Rachel, of course, is, no matter if Rachel's on with me or not, in the room with me, whatever going on, she's queuing me up for amazing questions to be able to ask. So like even Rachel's asking in the comment, what is it like to be a founder 10 years ago versus today? How does it differ from being a female entrepreneur?
Oh my gosh. So I was having this conversation yesterday. It's a lot different. So it'll be 13 years this July since I started. And when I started, being a female founder was, especially young, it
Yeah.
was so uncommon. I remember walking into one meeting and getting like "You're the owner?" But also too, a lot of, because I was in a meeting yesterday and it
Yeah.
was to do with something legal, and this person in the meeting, they were a lawyer and they were doing this to quiet you, like,
Wow.
and so I
No,
gave
no, no,
flashback.
no, ma'am. No, sir.
Yeah, I gave a flashback to the beginning because men used to do that when you would talk. And so I said to him, "Do not silence me and put your hand up to me." And he just, it kind of caught him off guard, I guess. But it just, so I was talking about that yesterday, about how it used to be so different. And now it's great how it's changed with so many women in business and working for themselves and leading their own companies. And it's great. I love seeing women, female empowerment come up, and it's not this taboo thing like it used to be. Like, you used to talk about female empowerment and it was like, "You're a feminist, you're a crazy feminist," you know? But
Yeah, and it's really, I mean, I'm very blessed to be able to, work with my wife and to be able to have those kinds. I mean, it's, as you see, like the pictures behind me, like people always ask, like, what are the pictures behind me? Like, I had these drawn for me based off of an experience that I went through, which is the female and the male ethos, right? Always based on what I thought and how I saw. I was one's softer, one's a little bit stronger, more just as men, we're a little crazy, sometimes, and being able to go through, and we have no clue what we're talking about. So it's all over here. But I mean, like, I always try to sit between those two, because I believe there's true power
love that.
when you have both sides of that coin. And
100%.
it's, we would not be where we are today in this world without amazing women like you leading the way and being able to go through. And I appreciate everything that you went through, to be able to get here, because I only understand from a little bit, right? Like, I started my companies young too, in my early 20s,
Yeah.
but it's not the same. I can't sit there and be like, oh, I understand exactly where you came from, being a young kid starting a company, because it's different. And, where it is today, to be able to see, you continue to be able to strive forward. So, I mean, like, today, going through as a female founder, with everything in the shifts that are going in, as people look to you and look to you to lead them. I mean, like with the Lions Den, right? You've got such an amazing, powerful following there. And I know we've got some listening in right now. I had awesome time being able to jump in there a little bit, and like your crew over there is powerful.
They're awesome.
Yeah. So like what are you telling not only the women over there, but the men about how to be able to lead and how to be able to come to what are the biggest things that are really coming to mind for you these days to be able to really raise people up?
Yeah, first and foremost, right now, it's important, like you were saying, to have that balance of operating with a kind heart and empathy as a leader, but still being very strong. And
Yeah.
that is where I think the best leaders come from. Having that balance, because when you are just a good person, it comes through in the products and services that you create. It comes through just in how you lead when you bring on a team with your employees and all of that. But it's, of course, still being strong, not getting taken advantage of, and persevering forward. And
Yeah.
so one of the big things that I talk about a lot, as well as fostering that perseverance, expecting to run into those epic failures and all those things that come along with being an entrepreneur, and just learning to roll with the punches and weather the ups and downs, and pivot when you need to.
Yeah.
Um, we pivot, we don't break, and we embrace the failures, and we keep going.
I love that. I mean, it's so important. I mean, embracing the failures because I mean, no matter how you look at it, right? Like failures are not failures if you actually understand and embrace them and use them and leverage them. And I think
Yes.
so many people miss that.
Yes, a lot of the biggest innovations or ideas that I've had have come out of failures because it's forced me to think differently. And so however you respond to a failure is going to determine whether or not you go on to succeed or whether you quit. You only
Yeah.
fail when you quit, when you stop trying. But if you're constantly looking for how can I make this work, there's a problem, where's the solution, then you never fail.
Right.
Never
Right.
truly fail.
Well, with all that, right? Like with everything that you're in right now and everything that you're doing, I mean, where do you see yourself going, right? Like what is your overall purpose on this world as you continue to be able to change so many lives just on a regular basis, not only in the social auto rooms, but with your businesses as well?
Yeah, so I've been working on a book for the last few years and I'm hoping to get that out. But really, I want to help people be able to build their own business and have their own life that they want. Because I know going from being a very broken person that couldn't hold down a job, couldn't make ends meet, really unhappy with life, to finding entrepreneurship, figuring out how to make it work, and then going on to build multiple businesses, and then having that freedom, having that ability to take care of my family, to live a life that I love. And so just helping other people get to that I hope will be my legacy, and yeah, we'll see what else comes down the pipeline.
Wow. That's amazing. And I mean, that's the thing. Like I think so many people and we're taught, especially like when you and I started companies years ago, we were
Mhm.
taught it's all about the money. How do you actually build businesses, be able to attain the money and then to be able to go through? And I don't know about you, but I mean, it led me down a path where I hated my life. I hated myself.
Mhm.
And, not until I released that and allowed money to be a byproduct of what I did, not the
Yes.
functionality of what it was, it didn't allow me to be able to step into any purpose.
Oh, 100%. I think when we focus on the impact that we're making, how we're helping people, how we're serving people, then money is always a byproduct of that success. When we truly achieve that success, money follows.
Yeah.
But never making it. I mean, when I first started, it was just based on passion. It wasn't about money. It was about having the ability to work for myself. And then as I started to make money and as I started to have overhead when I brought on my first employees, then I had to be driven by money, All of a sudden
Right.
I'm in a scary position of how do I, keep the lights on, and I've got mouths to feed, and so then I was very driven by money and I got so stressed out, so burnt out, and I didn't enjoy being an entrepreneur anymore.
Yeah.
And so from that point, I made it a conscious decision to really keep my overhead as low as possible. Yes, I've got an incredible team of employees, but because that's not my focus, I don't want to have that stress on me. And I always tell, people in the den that you don't have to do a business anyway. You can operate a business in whatever capacity you're comfortable in. You don't
Yeah.
have to go full in. If you want to have a little side hustle, you can. You don't have to put all your eggs in one basket and mortgage your home. Whatever makes you happy, do it. Do it in
Right.
that way. Right. Just focusing on how am I helping people? How am I bringing service to the world? And if you talk to a lot of the greatest entrepreneurs, that's what they all talk about. That's what Oprah talks about. She says when she changed her show and ultimately catapulted her career in 93 was because she switched how she was showing up, and she was focusing on service and significance to other people and helping other people.
Love that.
She said that is what If you want to be successful, focus on that. You want to make $1 million, focus on helping 1 million people.
I mean, talk about an amazing woman, Oprah. I mean, she truly has, defined so much for so many, and not just for women, not just for Black women, but for a generation, for a world. I mean, we all know, you say the name and everyone gets a different feeling. And right, that's truly, if you're actually stepping to your purpose when you hear someone's name, or your name is said, and a feeling occurs within you, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I love that. So, when we talk about these things, Emily, and kind of go through, you've almost got, like I said, between 250 and 300,000 followers across all your social platforms. What do you think, which social media platform do you think has been most effective for your growth?
When I first started out, it was Facebook, because that was really all that existed. And so I was able to really leverage that at the beginning to get that first business off the ground. And so it was really important to me, because I didn't have any money. And so that's how I found my first customers. That's how I found the first contractors that I hired. So I've got a special place in my heart for Facebook. But the most opportunities, I would say, have come out of LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, I don't put nearly enough time into it as I should, but a lot of, really incredible people I've met through that platform that aren't on any other platform,
Right.
you know. And so I love LinkedIn for that. Yeah, but I love them all. I love social
I
media.
mean, and I have to tell everyone, she's not saying this just because she knows I love LinkedIn. I promise we didn't set that up.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, truthfully, I see a lot of the same thing. And, we'll see where LinkedIn continues to be able to go with their audio rooms, with their LinkedIn Live. And they're creating so many new opportunities for it to be able to build that human connection, because people just saw it as a opportunity spot, which we had a lot of sales, a lot of spamming, and, or a place to put your resume. And I think we're seeing a big shift on that. So, and, talking about LinkedIn, right? I see this all the time, not only directly across the platform, but working with a lot of my amazing female clients, is that, how do you actually share your voice vulnerably and authentically, when there's so many haters? Because I see a lot of that. I see a lot of,
Mhm.
say it. And you know what? If you're listening and you're one of these stupid men that do this, I'm sorry. I'm gonna call you out, because I hate it. I almost cursed right there. I try not to be able to do that, but it just pisses me off, Emily. Like, how this goes. So I mean, like, how do you actually do that? Because you do it really well across multiple platforms, and I think a lot of women, a lot of people, and I don't care if it's women, men, everyone are so scared about how to be able to be vulnerable and authentic. When there's so many haters out there.
That is such a great question. Uh, I used to get that a lot, especially on LinkedIn. You post a photo over there and it's either really sexual comments, or "This is not a place for a photo." It used to be, "This is a business platform." You get so much hate, but you can't please everybody. Bless them and
Right.
block them has been my motto. Like,
Yeah.
bless them and block them. They're not worth your time of day. I mean, sometimes it does hurt, but you can't please everybody. And so as long as you've got good intentions, I think, with how you're showing up, and you're being honest and authentic, if somebody doesn't like you, well, that's their problem. And I was having this conversation with somebody the other day, because he was saying, he's a really successful entrepreneur, but he came from a crazy background, and he was saying, "I really want to share my story, but I'm really scared, and it's making me so anxious, and I haven't been sleeping." And I said, "Well, you don't have to share it. Like, if you don't
No.
want to, you don't have to, or just share the parts that you're comfortable with. And as you start to get more comfortable, if you want to open up about it, then you can." But I think that it is so important that we are vulnerable, because a lot of us show up on social media and we just show that highlight reel. I'm guilty of that. Absolutely. We don't show the struggles. And so
Yeah.
people look at things like entrepreneurship or whatever, and they think that when they're trying, that's why they give up, because they're getting all these failures and they're saying, like, "Oh, this person's so much better at it." Well, no, we've all had failures. We all have them, no matter what industry we are in, no matter what we're doing in our life. We all have epic failures. We just don't talk about it, because for some reason we've got this idea that we need to be picture perfect on social media. And so when we show up as our true self and we're vulnerable, then people can relate to us, and more so we can help people through our stories. And so that was the craziest thing, even though I did get, some comments here and there, I got so many comments from people saying, your story helped me, your story inspired me to get help or to talk to my family about addiction, because I had problems with alcohol after my sister passed away about 10 years
Yeah.
ago. And so that just makes it all worthwhile.
Yeah. No, I mean, I really do, because I mean, I see it all the time. And I mean, I'm going to tell you, that needs to be a hashtag, a huge bless them and block them. I have to at least, I don't know if everyone caught that, but I remember like bless them and block them. I'm like, oh yeah, that's a hashtag. We move. That's a movement right there.
Sometimes, you get fired up and you want to respond to them, and it's like, this isn't going to go anywhere.
Yeah. No,
Just
I
bless
get
them,
it.
like,
And I mean, these are the things you have to do. I mean, like I've seen, like men, like, like they treat it like a dating platform. Like, are you kidding me?
oh,
Like I at least had, for one time, Emily, I had one time I had a woman, I said, oh, hey, it's great to be able to connect. Why'd you reach out? She goes, oh, well, I thought you were cute, so I wanted to see what you, I was like,
oh dear.
okay. And, I share, I was like, this is the first time, I had gotten a message, like someone was connecting, what are you up to? Like, I'd love to, are you looking for a relationship? And I'm like, it was the first time I had gotten that. And I shared it on LinkedIn. And I mean, it went viral because I was like, look, I'm going to acknowledge this is the first time I'm getting it, but I
Wow.
can only imagine, I hear all the time about how women get this. And I go, this is not right. This is not acceptable. And look, if you want to unfriend me, unfollow me, whatever, but like, as men as well, we need to continue to be able to stand up, against the people that are doing this the wrong way. So
I gotta share
it
a message with you from yesterday. Let me see if
oh, you got one yesterday?
it was, hang on, I'm gonna find it. Um, you're gonna just the type of people. I don't know if I've got it here. Oh,
I
here
mean,
it is.
now
It is.
do we post it
I,
and blast them? I mean, like
I would really like to make love to you. You really are hot.
are you freaking kidding me?
Another time on LinkedIn, somebody said to me, you're so hot, something, something, something. And I said, this is not a dating platform. And they wrote,
Yeah.
oh, whatever, you're actually ugly anyways. So I ended up
Was his feelings hurt? I mean, I'm sorry, but these are these things.
makes you laugh.
Emily, it's there's, I hope you report those people, because I mean, like, truly, I'm trying to be able to humanize and be able to go through on LinkedIn, but I mean, like, look, there's always going to be people, like you said, bless them and block them, move forward, and allow it not to be able to stop you, because like we've all went through things, like you said, with your sister passing and things like that. Like, we've
Mhm.
all went through things that are a lot worse than what someone's going to be, commenting on our post, or, whatever it might be. And it's ridiculous that these people kind of go into it. But the more that you and I and others share,
Mhm.
and let them and normalize, right? We have to be able to normalize, not the bullshit, I'm just going to say it, that guy was saying, or to you, or, but truly normalize, like, the struggles that we got to go into, from either a, loved one passing, or like me going through a divorce, or,
Yeah.
your business shutting down, or we know so many, struggled through COVID and things like that. And we
100%.
were taught, at least I was taught, don't share your cracks.
Exactly.
The cracks make us beautiful.
Mhm.
And I think that's the biggest thing that I continue to be able to go. And this is why I love you. Like, you don't hold back. You really do share all of you. And I mean, it's impressive, and I appreciate it.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I think the messy bits are the best bits. Sometimes I think social media is like, Spanx, where we put those on to hide our little flaws when we wear a tight dress or whatever. But those messy bits are what make us us.
Dude,
They tell.
I love my Spanx. Every time I put on a dress, it is phenomenal. I mean, they really make my thighs amazing, let me tell you.
Right? Old shaper.
But this is that whole piece. Well, Emily, I really appreciate, you being able to hang out with everyone like that. Like, so what are for everyone right now, what are you up to? What's going on? And how can they just be more involved with everything Emily Lyons? I mean, I know you get the Lyons Den, but I mean, what are some of the other, are you doing Clubhouse every day? One.
I'm in there at least once a day,
Okay.
usually part in somebody's room, but I'm hoping to start hosting more regularly to get back into that of my own rooms.
So what I pull back for 2 seconds. Of course, now my ADHD kicked in, and now I'm on a whole nother tangent. It's okay. It's okay. I promise. But Clubhouse, what do
Mhm.
you see? Where do you see the vision for that? Because I get people ask me that all the time. Because you and I were early adopters. We got on
Mhm.
there really early. I think the end of 2020, which people were like, Clubhouse even existed in 2020. I'm like, yes, it did. Some of us got in there.
Yeah.
Where do you see it going?
I think it'll come back up. I think like everything is going to just flow, ebbs and flows, but it's the OG. It's the OG.
Yeah,
I mean, you could compare that to MySpace, but uh, I think it's going to stick around. I think that there's a great team behind it, and they've got some. I mean, you see it every single time you log in. It's like you're using the newest version of Clubhouse. You're using the newest
crazy,
Clubhouse.
crazy. Yeah.
We're really pushing forward, and that and Twitter Spaces, of course, because that is where the Web3 community lives. So,
I mean, I see you there all the time with your good friend, is he the CEO of
president of time.
President of Time? Okay.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, we could have a whole nother 30-minute conversation on how you are the friends and hanging out with the CEO of Time Magazine. I mean, it's just like, when are we going to see you on the cover there? I mean, it has to be coming.
Ask him.
I mean, as I keep on going, and I'm like, all right, we're going to see Emily on Time here sooner than later. There's just too much awesomeness kind of happening there. So, well, Emily, again, I'll finish it off getting back to where I tried to start off with my ADHD before it kicked in, because I got excited about a topic. Where can everyone find you? What are you doing? What's exciting for everyone? Right? Where's the best way for them to be able to connect with you?
They can connect with me on any social media platform. Emily Lyons, Emily Lioness on Instagram, Lyoness. But they can connect with me there. They can reach out to me, send me a message, say what's up. Love to connect with them. And yeah, just working on my book. So if you join the mailing list on my website, you'll get an update when it's set to launch.
And how does everyone join Lions Den? Because I mean, all I know is like going in there, the interaction, the people. I mean, we did an hour quick LinkedIn training there, and I mean, your crew over there freaking took it, created a whole 30-day task, contest, everything. And I mean, like, I was like, all right, you are rocking it over there. Like, to be able to have that kind of engagement. So like, I want people to go in there, because like that, I've spoken in so many groups. I've never seen that happen so quickly.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, there's some incredible people in there. And so what the Lions Den is first you can log in, you can watch recorded training videos from me on all different things pertaining to business that I've learned over the last 13 years or that I'm learning right now. And then we've also got guest events and speakers, incredible people like yourself, like my friend Keith from Time, all different people that give you different training you can implement to grow your brand, grow your business. And so they can check it out if they go to emilylyons.team. It'll redirect them over to it.
Rock and roll. Well, Emily, I appreciate you so much. Thank you so much for taking time out.
Pleasure.
Stay warm. I mean, like, I don't even, how cold is an ice storm?
I don't know how cold it is today. Maybe it's -10. So that's not bad. For Canada, it's not bad.
-10. I mean, I guess it's kind of like when I'm in Texas here and people are like, how hot is it? I'm like, I don't know. It's like 105. And they're like, oh my God. I mean, I think of the same thing. You're like, -10. It's not bad.
Yeah.
I wouldn't leave the house at -10. I mean, let alone, I mean, if
30.
it's 10, I'm too much of a baby to leave. So let's just be honest.
You wouldn't survive here. No.
We already know that. I bow down to the power that is Emily Lyons, and I truly appreciate you, friend. Thank you so much, and we'll catch up soon. All right.
Talk to you soon.
Bye, everyone.